I love myself. Listen to this if you're ready to live fully. Written by Mindful Momentum Audiobooks. Introduction. You have arrived at a threshold. The very act of pressing play is a declaration. A whisper to yourself, perhaps, but one that carries great weight. I am ready to live fully. I am ready to love myself, even in a world that teaches me to hide, to shrink, to doubt. This book is not about surface affirmations or temporary encouragements. It is a guide and a call to action. Each word you hear is crafted to remind you of your inherent worth and to awaken your devotion to authenticity. Every chapter is both an offering and a challenge, an offering of gentle truth and a challenge to step beyond the noise of a world that profits from your insecurity. Here, you will be asked to pause and breathe, to look closely at your patterns of thought, to notice the ways you have dimmed your light, to fit into expectations that were never meant for you. And most importantly, you will be invited to take ownership of your life fully, boldly, unapologetically. This journey is one of devotion, not perfection. Loving yourself is not a final destination. It is a daily choice, a practice, and an act of courage. As you listen, you will hear reminders that are meant to settle into your body as much as your mind. You will be given words to replace the doubts, practices to reframe the narrative, and pathways to walk toward freedom in your daily life. Each chapter is a step deeper into that practice, a step into self-trust, a step into compassion, a step into the freedom of being exactly who you are, without apology. If you allow it, this work will reshape the way you see yourself and the way you inhabit the world. It is an invitation to stand firm in your wholeness while living in a culture that constantly suggests you are incomplete. You have already said yes by showing up here. Now, the next step is to listen with openness, to let the words reach you, and to allow them to remind you of what you already know. You are worthy, you are capable, and you are enough. With that, let us begin. The choice to love yourself. Every journey begins with a choice. Not the kind of choice that happens in passing, but the kind of choice that reshapes the course of your life. Loving yourself begins here, with the quiet, unwavering decision to no longer abandon yourself. You have likely been conditioned to place others first, to meet expectations, to measure your worth by the reactions and opinions of those around you. For years, perhaps, you have learned to contort your true self to fit into patterns that never belonged to you. But now, you are here, and your presence in this moment is proof that you are ready to make a different choice. Loving yourself is not selfish. It is not arrogance. It is an act of liberation. It is the reclamation of your humanity in a culture that thrives on disconnection and self-doubt. To love yourself is to return home to the truth that you are whole, that you are allowed to take up space, and that you are worthy of living fully, without conditions, without compromise. In this chapter, you will be asked to claim that choice, to make it consciously and courageously, to let it sink beyond the surface of your mind and into your body, your actions, your daily breath. The world may not hand you permission to love yourself. It rarely does, which is why you must be the one to declare it. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Breathe deeply and imagine the weight of expectations loosening their grip. Imagine the layers of comparison falling away. With every exhale, feel yourself step closer to the core of who you are. That person, the one beneath the noise, beneath the striving, is worthy of your love. This chapter is a reminder that choosing yourself does not mean rejecting others. It does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means you enter relationships, work, and life itself from a place of fullness rather than lack. It means your love is offered not as a desperate plea to be seen, but as an overflow of what you already carry within. The choice to love yourself is the ground beneath everything else that follows. Without it, no affirmation will take root. With it, every affirmation becomes alive. As you carry this truth forward, let it shape the way you walk through the next chapters. You are not here to learn how to become lovable. You already are. You are here to learn how to live as someone who knows it. Now that you have made the choice, the next step is to practice it in thought and in word. That is where we turn next. Speaking to yourself with love. The words you speak to yourself create the foundation of your inner world. Long before anyone else's opinion reaches you, your own voice sets the tone for how you experience life. For too long, many of us have carried an inner dialogue shaped by criticism, comparison, and doubt. The voice that says you are not enough. The voice that demands perfection before it allows rest. The voice that repeats the harshness of others until it feels like truth. But here, in this moment, you are invited to rewrite that dialogue, to speak to yourself with love, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. Loving yourself through words is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing language that affirms your wholeness, even in the midst of imperfection. It is about interrupting the cycle of self-criticism with compassion. Each time you hear your thoughts spiraling into old patterns, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? Would I place these same words into the hands of a friend who is already carrying weight? If the answer is no, then it is time to shift. Replace I can't with I am learning. Replace I failed with I tried and I will try again. Replace I am not enough with I am worthy as I am, even as I grow. This practice is not instant. It requires patience, repetition, devotion. Yet with each moment of awareness, you are building a new way of relating to yourself, a way that supports you instead of diminishes you. When you claim your inner dialogue as a space of love, you become your own ally. And once you become your own ally, the world cannot so easily convince you to shrink. Carry this practice with you as we move forward, because words are powerful, but they are only the beginning. The next step is to embody self-love in how you live, in the choices you make, and in the boundaries you hold. Living love through action and boundaries. Loving yourself is more than a thought, more than a phrase repeated in the quiet of your mind. It must be lived. It must be felt in the way you move through the world. Actions are where your devotion becomes real. When you choose rest instead of overextension, you are loving yourself. When you nourish your body, when you protect your energy, when you allow joy without guilt, you are proving that your well-being matters. Boundaries are one of the clearest expressions of this love. They are not walls meant to isolate you. They are lines of clarity that honor your worth. They say, this is what I can give, this is what I cannot. This is where I end, and where another begins. Without boundaries, you abandon yourself. You say yes when your body aches for no. You stay silent when your truth longs to be spoken. You give until you are empty, waiting for someone else to notice your depletion. But with boundaries, you reclaim your wholeness. You teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. You protect the time and energy required to grow, to create, to rest, to love freely. Every boundary is an act of self-respect. Every action that honors your needs is an affirmation made tangible. Together, they create a life that reflects your inner devotion. As you listen, consider, where have you been saying yes out of fear rather than out of love? Where have you allowed your own needs to slip beneath the weight of obligation? And where might you begin, today, to take one small action that honors your truth? Loving yourself is not just spoken. It is lived. And when your words and actions align, you step into a life that is whole, steady, and undeniably your own. From here, we turn towards something even deeper: how self-love expands outward, shaping the way you connect with others and with the world itself. To move from intention into embodiment, we must practice. Listening alone is not enough. Self-love comes alive when you put these truths into motion, step by step, choice by choice. Here are a few ways to begin. Exercise 1. The Loving Action Scan. Pause and bring to mind your day. Look at it as though you are holding a map. Notice where you gave, where you stretched, where you poured energy outward. Then ask yourself, where in the same day did I give to myself? Where did I choose something that replenished me? If the answer feels light or empty, let this be a gentle signal. Tomorrow, or even today, choose one action that is only for you. It could be as simple as a walk outside, 10 minutes of quiet, a nourishing meal, or saying no to something that drains you. Small acts compound. They remind your body that your needs are valid. Exercise 2. The boundary script. Think of a situation where you often say yes when your truth leans toward no. Instead of waiting for the moment to arrive and catching yourself in hesitation, prepare a boundary script now. For example, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." Or, "That doesn't work for me, but I appreciate you asking." Practice saying it out loud. Notice how it feels in your body. The more you rehearse loving language for boundaries, the more natural it will become in real moments. Boundaries are not rejection, they are clarity. Exercise 3. The alignment check. At the end of the week, ask yourself, did my actions reflect my inner devotion? Did I live as though I am worthy of care? Did I give away my time or energy to what does not serve me? This is not about guilt. This is about awareness. Where your actions and words align, celebrate. Where they do not, make a gentle adjustment for the week ahead. Self-love thrives in alignment, and alignment is built through reflection. These practices are simple, but they are powerful. They teach you to choose yourself in tangible ways again and again until self-love becomes less of an idea and more of a rhythm in your life. Remember, every action that honors your needs, every boundary spoken with clarity, is a declaration of love. Not just love for yourself, but love for the life you are building. With these practices as your foundation, you are ready to carry this devotion outward into the way you connect with others and into the world you help create. That is where we will go next. Expanding love into connection. When you practice loving yourself, you are not only transforming your inner world, you are transforming the way you move within every relationship around you. The work you began with your words and your boundaries is not separate from how you live with others. It is the very ground that makes true connection possible. Think back to the exercises you carried in the last chapter. When you scan your day and choose one act of care for yourself, you arrive to others more present, more whole. When you rehearse a boundary and honor it in real time, you create relationships built on clarity instead of silent resentment. When you pause at the end of the week to notice where your actions align with your devotion, you show up to others with an authenticity that cannot be faked. Self-love is not isolation. It is preparation for love that is honest, balanced, and alive. Too often, relationships are built on patterns of self-abandonment, on saying yes to avoid conflict, on silencing needs for fear of rejection, on giving endlessly in hopes of being seen. But when you practice self-love, you no longer enter relationships empty, waiting to be filled. You enter relationships whole, ready to give from overflow rather than lack. This does not mean every connection will flourish. Sometimes, as you begin to love yourself, you will find that certain relationships no longer fit, that boundaries reveal truths that were easier to ignore. That authenticity unsettles those who benefited from your silence. And yet, this too is love. To let go of what diminishes you is to make space for what honors you. Loving yourself expands outward as honesty. It sounds like telling the truth about what you feel, even when your voice shakes. It looks like showing up without disguises, trusting that your worth is not dependent on performance. It feels like being both vulnerable and strong, knowing the two can coexist. Here is how you might begin. The next time you are with someone you trust, speak kindly to yourself in their presence. Let them see you say, "I need rest," or "I'm proud of myself for what I did today." This models authenticity and invites deeper honesty between you. When conflict arises, pause and remember your boundary script. Let your words be rooted not in fear, but in clarity. "That doesn't work for me," spoken with calm certainty, is not distance, it is respect. Notice how connection feels when you are aligned with your truth compared to when you abandon yourself. Use this awareness as a compass. Move toward what feels expansive. Step away from what requires you to shrink. To live fully is to be yourself both in solitude and in company. To let your inner devotion be visible in your outer connections. When you practice self-love, you give others permission to do the same. And in this, you create relationships that are not about masks or performance, but about freedom. Remember, love that begins within you becomes the love that flows between you. By speaking kindly to yourself, by honoring your boundaries, by living in alignment, You have already begun to transform the way you connect. Carry this truth forward. Your authenticity is not a risk, it is a gift. Those who can meet you there will rise to meet you. Those who cannot will fall away. Either way, you remain whole, you remain true, you remain free. From here, we will turn to an even greater expansion. How self-love shapes not only your relationships, but your place in the wider world. Integrating the first steps. Take a breath. You have moved through the opening chapters of this journey, and before you step forward, you are invited to pause, to reflect, to let the truths you've encountered settle more deeply into your body and your mind. In Chapter 1, you made a choice. The choice to love yourself, not someday, not when circumstances change, but now. That choice was the seed planted. In Chapter 2, you learn to tend to that seed with words, to shift the way you speak to yourself, to become your own ally instead of your harshest critic. Every phrase of compassion, every thought of encouragement has been a drop of water helping that seed grow. In Chapter 3, you moved from words into actions. You practiced noticing how your days unfold, creating boundaries with clarity, aligning your choices with your worth. These practices are the roots of self-love, anchoring it into your daily life. And in Chapter 4, you began to see the bloom. You recognized how self-love does not isolate you, but prepares you for deeper, more honest connection. How boundaries and authenticity shape the way you show up in relationships, making them more grounded, more alive. Now, pause here with all of this. Let the lessons gather around you like light. Close your eyes if you can. Place a hand on your heart. Notice its steady rhythm. Remind yourself, I chose love. I spoke love. I practiced love. I carried love outward. These are not just ideas anymore. They are movements of your life. Ask yourself, which moment spoke most to me? Which practice felt most alive? Which boundary or phrase or connection is asking for my attention right now? Let the answer come without force, as softly as a breath. Integration is as important as action. It is the pause that makes the music resonate. So give yourself this moment, not to rush, not to strive, but simply to let the truths you've gathered become part of you. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be, carrying exactly what you need. And when you are ready, we will move forward into how this devotion expands into the wider world, shaping not only your relationships, but your very presence and purpose in life. Self-love in purpose and presence. You have chosen yourself. You have spoken to yourself with kindness. You have acted in alignment with your worth. You have begun to connect authentically with others. Now it is time to extend that devotion outward, into your presence and your purpose in the wider world. Self-love is not an inward retreat. It is a foundation from which your impact radiates. When you know your value and honor your truth, the way you show up in work, community, and creativity transforms. You act not from fear, obligation, or neediness. You act from fullness. You offer the gifts only you can give. In your work, self-love allows you to operate from clarity and integrity. You set boundaries around your time and energy. You choose projects that align with your values. You speak your ideas without hesitation because you trust the validity of your voice. Your presence inspires others not through force, but through authenticity and confidence. In your community, self-love shows itself in participation that is intentional and meaningful. You give where your heart is open. You contribute without losing yourself in expectation. You model what it means to care for both self and collective, demonstrating that love is not zero-sum. Your example encourages others to honor themselves as well. In your creativity, self-love fuels expression without fear of judgment. You create because it fulfills you, because it communicates your truth, because it is an act of devotion to your inner life. You are not bound by comparison or by external approval. Each act of creation is a declaration that your voice matters, that your perspective is worthy, that your imagination deserves space to flourish. Here is a practice to carry this into your daily life. Begin each day by asking yourself, what is one way I can show up today from a place of fullness? How can I act with presence, clarity, and love rather than obligation or fear? Let this question guide your choices. Notice the difference when your actions are rooted in self-love. Meetings, interactions, challenges, and opportunities feel less heavy. You navigate them with steadiness and purpose. You are awake to your own needs and aware of the ways you can contribute without losing yourself. Self-love expands your influence not by demanding attention, but by creating space for your truth to be seen. It shifts your perception of success from accumulation and approval to meaning and alignment. It allows you to live fully and authentically, regardless of external pressures. As you move forward, remember that self-love is the source of your impact. It is both your anchor and your compass. The more you cultivate it, the more your life radiates in ways that are uniquely yours. Every action that honors your worth, every boundary that protects your energy, every word spoken with clarity becomes a contribution to a world that needs your authentic presence. The journey you have begun is ongoing. It is daily, deliberate, and transformative. By choosing yourself, speaking to yourself with care, acting from alignment, connecting authentically, and showing up fully in the world, you create a life that is not only lived, but radiantly expressed. Now, with all that you have learned and practiced, you are prepared to embrace the final chapter. The final chapter is not an end, but a celebration and a call to continue living fully in the only life you know, living fully, loving fully. You have journeyed far. You have chosen to love yourself. You have practiced shifting your inner dialogue into compassion. You have brought those words into action and protected your life with boundaries that honor your worth. You have expanded that love outward into your connections with others and into your presence in the world. And now, as we arrive at the closing chapter, it is time to gather everything you have learned, to celebrate the progress you have made, and to commit to carrying this devotion forward into the life that is waiting for you. This is not an ending. It is a threshold, just as the introduction was a threshold. The difference is that now you are standing taller, breathing deeper, more aware of the power that is already within you. You are no longer listening as a seeker alone. You are listening as someone who has practiced, who has chosen, who has embodied love in thought, action, and presence. Integration begins with acknowledgement, so pause now and acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge the courage it took to even begin. Acknowledge the times when it was easier to turn away, yet you pressed play. Acknowledge the moments when a word, a phrase, or a practice stirred something in you that you had long silenced. Self-love is not measured only in grand gestures. It is found in these quiet acknowledgments, these inner nods that affirm, I am here, I am whole, I am living my life. Celebrate how far you have come. You may not feel transformed in every way, and that is not the point. What matters is that you are moving with intention. You are devoting yourself to authenticity in a world that often rewards performance and pretense. You are carving a path that is uniquely yours, and that is worth celebrating. From this celebration, let us look forward. Self-love is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It is a daily devotion, a rhythm that carries through every season of your life. There will be days when your inner dialogue drifts back to criticism, days when your boundaries are tested, days when you forget to choose yourself. On those days, remember this: you do not start over from nothing. Every practice, every shift, every act of love has already taken root. Return to them gently. Recommit. Begin again, not as a failure, but as someone devoted to living fully. Living fully means you do not abandon yourself in the pursuit of acceptance. It means you stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect body, the perfect conditions before you allow yourself to enjoy life. It means you step into your days with presence, trusting that the simple act of being yourself is enough. Living authentically means you do not dilute your truth to fit into someone else's mold. It means your words match your heart, your actions reflect your values, and your presence communicates freedom. To live authentically is to trust that your life is most impactful when it is most honest. The world may not always make this easy. There will be pressures to conform, to perform, to doubt yourself. But you now carry tools that allow you to stand steady. You have the language of self-compassion. You have the clarity of boundaries. You have the awareness to choose actions that align with your worth. You have the courage to connect from wholeness rather than lack. You have the presence to embody your love in the spaces where you live, work, and create. And most importantly, you have yourself. Your love is your anchor. Your authenticity is your compass. As you step beyond this audiobook, carry these truths with you. You are worthy of love, without condition. You can speak to yourself with kindness and change the atmosphere of your inner world. You can choose actions that nourish you and set boundaries that protect you. You can connect authentically with others without abandoning yourself. You can live in a way that reflects your deepest values and gifts. You can live fully, here and now, in the only life you know. Take a deep breath. Let it fill you completely and release it slowly. Feel the steadiness of your own presence. This is the life you are living. It is not a rehearsal. It is not a draft. It is happening here and now, and you have the power to shape it with love. The call to action is simple but profound. Choose yourself again and again. Speak love into your thoughts. Embody love in your actions. Protect your love with boundaries. Share your love in authentic connection. Expand your love into your presence and purpose. And in doing so, live a life that is whole, radiant, and free. You do not need permission. You do not need to wait. You are ready. You have always been ready. This is your life. This is your moment. This is your chance to live fully and authentically, guided by the unwavering truth that you love yourself. And with that, let this not be the final word, but the first step into the life you are choosing to create.